David is a struggling screenwriter. His dreams seem to be gradually fading away, and he is facing the pressure of not being able to afford rent soon. However, just as he falls into despair, a piece of good news suddenly arrives. His ex-girlfriend suddenly contacts him, suggesting they collaborate on writing a script together. This ex-girlfriend is more than just a past to him. She understands him deeply. Though David isn't aiming for immediate success, it's out of understanding and trust in his ex-girlfriend that he decides to accept the challenge. Every morning at 9 o'clock, David appears punctually at the Grand Villa to begin work. Though he initially feels a bit out of place, he gradually begins to enjoy the pleasure of this collaboration. However, just as David is happily preparing to go home, a little girl suddenly stops him. She hands David a letter and says her mother wants her to live with David. At that moment, David pays little attention to the letter, thinking it's just a child's prank. However, when he returns home and closes the doorbell continues to ring incessantly. He opens the door to find the girl still standing there, extending her small hand. "Sir, please take this letter," the girl says, her tone serious and firm. David hesitates for a moment, taking the letter. "Who told you to give this to me?" he asks. "Mom," the girl replies. "She said it's important." Finally, David opens the letter. It says that the girl is his biological daughter. David's mood instantly becomes heavy, his expression serious, his brows furrowed. "Little girl, where is your mother?" David tries to ask calmly. He can't imagine the connection between this little girl and him, and this unexpected news will completely overturn his life. One night 8 years ago, a little angel came to his side. But now, with her mother unable to care for her for 4 weeks, she had no choice but to send her to David's place. The confident little girl walked through the door without hesitation, as if she were already family. David was quite troubled by this sudden turn of events. Unsure of what the letter contained, he cautiously inquired, "Is your mother out of the country for some reason? And what about your father?" The girl replied calmly, "My father is the best dentist in Berlin." David found it somewhat coincidental because he happened to know the best dentist in all of Berlin. They used to be good friends. So David decided to take the girl directly to his friend's clinic. When his friend saw David, his face turned pale. It turned out that 8 years ago, David had an affair with the dentist's wife. Only recently did the dentist realize he'd been cuckolded, leading to his divorce and estrangement from his beloved daughter. Faced with this unchangeable fact, David had no choice but to take in the child that had dropped into his life and began caring for her. He helped her with her homework first. "What type of photography is this?" the girl suddenly asked. Then, David helped her brush her teeth. Seeing a row of neatly arranged toothbrushes, the girl, Lily, was very surprised. How can one person have so many toothbrushes? David's life was somewhat chaotic, but he always considered himself hospitable and enjoyed having guests stay overnight. After brushing their teeth, Lily told David she got up at 6:30 in the morning and hoped he could start making breakfast for her at 6. David found it absurd because 6 o'clock might still be his bedtime. The next morning, Lily opened the fridge and her eyes fell on a doll's head placed on an elbow. She frowned and turned to David. "Do you know? This head is as scary as Miss Lynn's." David chuckled in response. "Oh, that's my roommate's. He's a weirdo, always into these strange things." To ensure Lily would have enough to eat for school, David ended up buying her a croissant on the way. Lily took the croissant, took a bite, and nodded in satisfaction. "This is good. I thought you only knew how to make those awful seduction dishes." David laughed at her words. "Oh, you don't understand. That's my specialty dish, always manages to impress a crowd of girls." As for dinner, David prepared his specialty dish, wine-braised chicken for seduction, a dish that had won him favor with many girls in the past. However, Lily frowned and shook her head. "Sorry, I don't want any wine, and this dish doesn't really suit my taste." David tried to explain the deliciousness of the chicken while listening to Lily's complaints. David rushed out to meet his ex-girlfriend while receiving a call from her. Ex-girlfriend: David, why didn't you come to work today? David: oh, sorry, I got a bit confused. I left some money, so you can order a pizza for yourself. I'll be back soon. After David hurried out, Lily successfully ordered a mushroom pizza with cheese, bacon, sausage, and a large poached egg. The delivery guy arrived quickly, but Lily was too scared to open the door. She came up with an idea, passing the money through the door crack, letting the delivery guy leave the pizza and go. Upon receiving the pizza, Lily found there was no poached egg. She decided to make breakfast herself. However, when she started boiling eggs, she accidentally started a fire. Just then, David calmly dialed the fire department. David hurried back home, only to be scolded by firefighters. Leaving an 8-year-old girl alone at home will be investigated. What's your relationship with the girl? Lily quickly explained, he's my dad. The next morning, David prepared a hearty breakfast and escorted Lily to school. But as Lily walked away, David noticed some boys bullying her, trying to take her phone and money. He immediately rushed out to help Lily. David's actions drew attention from the neighborhood, and he felt a special sense of satisfaction. Returning home, facing his ex-girlfriend, David fabricated a lie to explain his sudden departure last night. His ex-girlfriend highly praised his behavior. In the evening, David accompanied his ex-girlfriend to meet a renowned director, but he had no fondness for such slick people. When meeting the director, David felt extremely uncomfortable, especially seeing him smoking a cigar in public. When a female fan approached for an autograph, the prominent director eagerly pulled out his own photo, anticipating her excited reaction. However, the fan responded coldly, "It's mine, if you don't mind." The atmosphere became awkward momentarily, and the director awkwardly chuckled, attempting to change the subject. "So, Dave, what kind of script do you want to write?" the director hurriedly asked, trying to break the silence. Dave pondered for a moment and said, "I want to write a script about fathers, exploring what makes a true father." However, the director seemed uninterested in such a theme, only wanting to quickly end the awkward situation and change the topic. As soon as he left, Dave unfortunately ran into 2 friends with benefits who mercilessly exposed Dave's heartache. His ex-girlfriend angrily drove off, leaving Dave feeling miserable as he walked home alone. Upon reaching his doorstep, he unexpectedly found his dentist knocking. It turned out the dentist, feeling nostalgic for his daughter, had drunkenly made his way to Dave's house and fell asleep on the couch. The next day, 2 tall men accompanied the daughter to school together, turning a simple journey into an unexpected journey of friendship. They began to establish some subtle connections between them. "Hey, Dave, thanks for doing this with me," Mike said as they walked side by side. "No problem, Mike." "Anything for Lily," Dave replied with a nod, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Later, in order to appease his ex-girlfriend, Dave had to cooperate closely with her, trying to suppress his own emotions. He reluctantly agreed to pick Lily up from school and spend a fulfilling afternoon with her, rowing in the park and telling bedtime stories. Although Dave was only good at making Kokowaah, Lily still baked some cookies for him to make him happy. "Dave, can we go to the park and row a boat, please?" Lily pleaded, her eyes wide with excitement. "Sure thing, Lily. Let's go," Dave replied, a genuine smile spreading across his face as he ruffled her hair affectionately. During this time together, everything went smoothly with both Lily and his ex-girlfriend, and even Dave's script was completed. However, just when everything seemed calm, the appearance of a paternity test report shattered everything. Lily was indeed Dave's child, and this news left Dave speechless. The dentist urged him to tell Lily, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Finally, on a sunny Sunday, Dave decided to tell Lily the news in a relaxed manner, taking her out to buy ice cream and trying to turn this difficult conversation into a heartwarming fairy tale. "Hey, Lily, how about we get some ice cream?" Dave suggested, trying to lighten the mood. "Yay, ice cream!" Lily exclaimed, her face lighting up with joy. As they walked to the ice cream shop, Dave took a deep breath, preparing himself for the difficult conversation ahead. Lily listened with disbelief written all over her face. Before she could make sense of the situation, she found out that not only had her ex-boyfriend appeared, but even the dentist had shown up. "What on earth is going on?" Lily asked in astonishment. David explained to her that he and his wife had changed their minds. They didn't want her to know who her biological father was because it would cause complications in their future. "This is all too chaotic." Lily felt a whirlwind of confusion before her. Meeting face to face with Lily in the room, a few words made it clear to her that Lily was David's biological daughter. "We all know now," said the ex-girlfriend to Lily. Lily also realized from the adults' expressions that the errors of knights and queens in fairy tales were now being played out in reality, with his mother being the unfortunate queen, and the clueless David before her being the silly knight. "Adults can be so foolish," Lily muttered to herself. Seeing Lily's emotions stabilize, David went to talk to his ex-girlfriend, hoping to explain things clearly. But his ex-girlfriend still couldn't accept it. "I just made a mistake in the moment," David explained helplessly. The next day, the two dads met. The dentist said he would remarry his ex-wife, but they wanted to take Lily back. "I can't lose her," David strongly objected. Late at night, David went to the bar alone, feeling depressed. Despite people trying to strike up conversation with him, he could only think about his ex-girlfriend. "I've had enough," David muttered to himself. After finishing the script, David approached the dentist, expressing that he couldn't endure it anymore. Although the dentist disagreed, he agreed to let him see Lily, on the condition that he accompanied them throughout. "I will accompany you throughout," the dentist promised. Lily wanted to buy a car full of candies, but the dentist disagreed. "Kids shouldn't eat too much sugar," the dentist tried to explain. Later, the ex-girlfriend found David, who received a package containing a script specially written for him. "This is amazing," David exclaimed with joy. Afterwards, Lily not only had two dads, but also gained a new aunt. They were all very wealthy, and Lily believed that with their company, she would surely have a happy and joyful childhood.